The Billionaire Blueprint, Mastering the Psychology of Infinite Growth. There is a terrifying silence that exists just before a person decides to become truly great. It is not the silence of peace, but the silence of the threshold. You are standing on the edge of the life you have been told to live, staring into the abyss of the life you were designed to command. Most people spend their entire existence hovering in that gray space, caught between the gravity of their past and the crushing weight of their own excuses. They treat life as something that happens to them, a series of external forces, the economy, their boss, their upbringing, their luck, that dictate the boundaries of their success. But you are here because you have felt the stirring of a different truth. You have felt that uncomfortable, persistent itch in your soul that tells you there is more. That itch is not a burden, it is a compass. It is the primitive recognition of your own latent power, whispering that the difference between the average man and the titan of industry is not a matter of talent, nor a matter of circumstance. It is a matter of psychological architecture. Success is not an accident. It is a structure, built upon the bedrock of a singular, uncompromising decision. If you look back through the corridors of history, at the men and women who carved their names into the foundations of civilization, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, you will find no commonality of birth, no shared privilege, no singular stroke of fate. What you will find is a terrifying, absolute clarity of purpose. They did not wake up hoping that success would find them. They woke up having already decided that they were the masters of their own reality. They understood that before a dollar is earned, a factory is built, or an empire is founded, a battle must be won in the quiet sanctuary of the mind. Consider for a moment the nature of desire. Most people mistake desire for a wish. A wish is a frail, fleeting sentiment that evaporates at the first sign of friction. Desire, however, in its purest, most Napoleon Hill-esque form, is a consuming, burning hunger that refuses to be sated by anything less than total manifestation. It is the transmutation of intangible thought into tangible reality. When you decide, with the conviction of a man walking toward his own destiny, that you are going to change the trajectory of your lineage, the universe begins to rearrange itself around that decision. This is not mysticism, this is the mechanics of focus. When you give your subconscious mind a command, it stops filtering for comfort and starts filtering for opportunity. But here is where the blueprint often fails for the faint of heart, the moment of friction. You see, the world is designed to test the depth of your resolve. You will encounter obstacles that seem insurmountable, failures that sting with the humiliation of inadequacy, and people who will call your vision an impossibility. They are not your enemies. They are the filters that separate the dreamer from the achiever. Every obstacle is merely a disguised opportunity to exercise the muscle of your will. When Thomas Edison failed thousands of times in his search for the filament that would change the world, he did not see failure. He saw a process of elimination. He understood that the blueprint of success requires the debris of 1,000 wrong turns. If you are not failing, you are not moving. If you are not uncomfortable, you are not growing. To achieve the infinite, you must be willing to endure the finite limitations of the present. The psychology of growth is not built on the foundation of what you have, but on the foundation of who you are becoming. You must cultivate the habit of looking at a problem not as a wall, but as a doorway. When you lose money, you are not losing your future. You are paying a tuition fee for a lesson in discipline. When you are rejected, you are not being diminished, you are being sharpened. The billionaire mindset is inherently subtractive. It strips away the ego, the vanity, the need for validation, and leaves behind the raw, unadulterated need to create value. You are not here to take, you are here to generate. And in the generation of value, wealth is merely the inevitable mathematical consequence. You must stop asking, how can I get rich? And start asking, what problem can I solve that is so profound, so essential, that the world cannot help but compensate me for it? The moment your focus shifts from your own lack to the needs of the marketplace, you unlock a source of energy that is infinite. This is the secret of the industrial giants. They did not chase money, they chased efficiency, innovation, and progress. They built systems that served humanity, and in return, humanity built them into legends. You have the same raw materials within you. You have the same capacity to transmute thought into gold. But you have to stop playing small. You have to stop apologizing for your ambition. You have to stop waiting for the perfect time, the perfect mentor, or the perfect set of conditions. The perfect time is the moment you decide that your internal conviction is louder than the external noise of the world. Look at your life as if it were a business, a machine, an empire under construction. What are the variables you are ignoring? What are the habits you are tolerating? Every hour you spend in procrastination is a tax you are paying to your own mediocrity. You must develop a brutal, uncompromising relationship with your time. A titan knows that time is the only asset that cannot be recovered. They treat every interaction, every thought, and every action as a transaction. Are you investing in your future, or are you spending your potential on distractions? Most people live in a cycle of reactive living, responding to the demands of their phones, their social circles, and their anxieties. To break that cycle, you must become proactive. You must become the architect. Visualization is not a mystical exercise, it is the rehearsal of reality. You must see the end from the beginning so clearly that your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between the vision and the current state. When your mind lives in the future, your body and your actions are pulled forward by the gravity of that vision. But this requires consistency. It requires the discipline to return to your vision when the world is screaming for your attention. It requires the courage to say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. It requires the audacity to believe that you are capable of achieving what you have not yet seen. You are currently writing the history of your own life. Every page you turn, every decision you make, every moment you choose discipline over comfort, you are cementing the path to your destiny. Do not underestimate the power of a single well-placed step. Small, incremental gains, compounded over years of relentless focus, will create a mountain that no force on earth can erode. You have the blueprint. It is not hidden in a book or locked in a vault. It is carved into the very structure of your character. It is the ability to command your own mind, to direct your own focus, and to persist through the darkest hours of the night, knowing that the morning sun is not a possibility, it is a guarantee. Now, move forward. Build. Create. Conquer. Your legacy is waiting, and it demands that you show up fully, unapologetically, as the master of your own soul. That, however, is where the path becomes lonely. You see, most people are terrified of the solitude that true ambition requires. They crave the approval of the herd, the comfort of the familiar, and the safety of the collective opinion. But the billionaire blueprint is not for the person who seeks to be understood. It is for the person who seeks to be effective. To climb the heights of achievement, you must be willing to walk away from the voices that tell you to slow down, to be reasonable, to accept your lot in life. You must recognize that the opinions of the masses are often merely the projections of their own limitations. If they tell you it is impossible, they are not talking about your capability, they are talking about the ceiling of their own imagination. Do not let their ceiling become your floor. Understand that your mind is a garden, and like any garden, it produces only what you plant within it. If you allow the weeds of doubt, the parasites of fear, and the debris of past failures to take root, you will reap a harvest of confusion and defeat. But if you guard your thoughts with the vigilance of a century, if you cultivate the seeds of belief, the fruits of your labor will be limitless. This is the law of mental equivalence. Your external reality will always mirror your internal state. If you feel like a victim, you will create a world of victimization. If you feel like a pioneer, you will create a world of discovery. You are the sole curator of your mental environment. Every input, every conversation, every book, and every thought you entertain is a brick in the building of your identity. What are you building today? Think of Henry Ford. He was not a man of infinite formal education, but he was a man of infinite conviction. When he set out to build the V8 engine, his engineers told him it was impossible. They told him the engineering laws would not permit it, that the configuration was a dream and not a machine. He did not argue with them. He simply told them to build it anyway. He didn't know how to build it, but he knew that it must be built. He possessed that rare, dangerous, and beautiful quality of faith. Not faith in the religious sense, but faith in the objective existence of his goal. He understood that the how always reveals itself to the person who refuses to accept no as the final answer. When you stop obsessing over the mechanics of the journey and start obsessing over the certainty of the arrival, you remove the barriers that prevent innovation from flowing through you. You have been conditioned to believe that life is a series of obstacles to be avoided. You must flip the script. Life is a series of challenges to be mastered. When you encounter a setback, do not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What is the secret benefit hidden within this difficulty?" Every crisis brings with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. It is a fundamental law of nature. The market crash of 1929 destroyed fortunes, but it also birthed new industries and new leaders who saw opportunities where others saw only ruin. The difference was not the market, it was the perspective. You must develop the vision to see the potential in the wreckage. If you can maintain your poise when the world is in chaos, if you can keep your eyes on the goal when others are blinded by panic, you will rise. You will always rise. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your accomplishments. It is the boring, unglamorous, day-to-day commitment to doing what is required even when you do not feel like it. Inspiration is a spark, but discipline is the fuel. It is the ability to show up to your life every single day, to put your hands on the plow and keep moving forward, regardless of your mood, your energy, or your results. The average person works until they are tired. The Titan works until they are done. That is the shift in consciousness that separates the amateur from the master. You are not waiting for the right mood to take action. You are creating the mood through the action. The act itself is the engine of change. Consider the compounding effect of your habits. If you improve by just 1% every single day, you are not simply adding, you are multiplying your trajectory. It is the miracle of compound interest applied to the human spirit. Most people underestimate what they can achieve in a decade, and overestimate what they can achieve in a year. They want the overnight success, the viral hit, the sudden windfall. They fail to realize that the most durable empires are built in the dark, through years of silent, invisible, and often thankless work. The billionaire blueprint is built on the patience of a farmer. You plant, you water, you wait, and you trust the process. You do not dig up the seeds every day to see if they are growing. You keep watering. You keep working. You keep believing. When you look into the mirror, you must see the person you are intended to be, not the person you have been. You must forgive your past self for not knowing what you know now. That version of you did the best they could with the tools they had. But you have new tools. You have the understanding that your mind is the master of your circumstances. You have the awareness that your purpose is not something you find, it is something you forge. You have the clarity to realize that the only limits that exist are the ones you have agreed to accept. Today, tear down those agreements. Rewrite the contract of your life. You are a vessel for potential that has been dormant for far too long. There is a fire within you that the world cannot extinguish unless you allow it to go out. Keep it burning. Use the friction of your life to feed the flames. Use the doubts of others to sharpen your resolve. Use the silence of your own struggle to listen to the wisdom of your intuition. You are capable of far more than you have ever demonstrated. You are capable of building, of leading, of contributing, and of thriving in ways that will change the landscape of the future. The blueprint is in your hands. The materials are at your feet. The clock is ticking. The only thing left to do is to begin the work with the ferocity of a force of nature. Your destiny is not written in the stars. It is written in the consistency of your choices, the strength of your character, and the absolute unwavering intensity of your belief. Your time is not coming. Your time is now. The fear of failure is the phantom that keeps the world in mediocrity. We are taught from childhood to avoid the scrape, the bruise, and the mistake as if these were terminal illnesses. But in the architecture of the billionaire, in the true science of growth, failure is not the opposite of success. It is a vital ingredient of success. Every great industrialist, every visionary who pulled a kingdom out of the thin air of an idea, understood that a mistake is merely an expensive piece of data. It is a piece of intelligence that tells you where the wall is, so that you may build a ladder over it. If you are paralyzed by the prospect of being wrong, you have already guaranteed that you will never be right. You must embrace the audacity to be wrong, to be criticized, and to be misunderstood, for these are the taxes paid for the privilege of creating something that has never existed before. Do not fear the struggle. The struggle is where your spirit is forged. When a diamond is formed, it is subjected to immense, crushing pressure over eons. Without the pressure, it remains nothing more than a common piece of carbon. You are no different. The challenges you face today, the financial strain, the lonely nights, the business doors that slam shut in your face, are the very pressures that are compressing your potential into something brilliant. You must stop praying for an easy life and start praying for the capacity to endure a greater one. The strength you possess is a muscle. It does not grow in the comfort of a chair, but in the intensity of the resistance. If your life feels hard right now, take heart. You are being prepared for a level of responsibility and impact that requires a stronger foundation than you currently possess. You must also master the art of the mastermind. No person in the history of the world has ever reached the pinnacle of influence alone. The Billionaire Blueprint dictates that you must surround yourself with the spirit of harmony and the sharpness of intellect. You are the average of the people you allow to influence your thinking. If your circle is filled with those who speak of limitations, of gossip, or of the way things are, you are being drained of the energy required to innovate. Seek out the thinkers, the builders, and the dreamers. Build a circle where the currency is ideas, where the conversation is about the future, and where the collective belief in what is possible creates a synergy that is greater than the sum of its parts. Your success is a team sport, even if you are the one standing at the front of the line. But remember, the most important member of your mastermind is your own subconscious mind. This is your personal creative engine. It does not sleep when you sleep. It works on the blueprints you provide during the day. This is why the state of your mind before you drift into sleep is critical. Do not end your day with the review of your problems. Do not fall asleep in a state of stress or anxiety, for that is the code you are writing into your subconscious for the next day. Instead, take 10 minutes to visualize the completion of your goals. See the result. Feel the emotion of the success as if it were already yours. When you speak to your subconscious with the authority of a master, it begins to influence your every action, your every intuition, and your every decision, guiding you toward the people and the circumstances that will fulfill your vision. This is the alchemy of the mind. You are taking the base metal of your current circumstances and transmuting it into the gold of your future. It requires a relentless focus on the why. Why do you want this success? Is it for status? Is it for comfort? Those are weak motivators, and they will fail you when the storm arrives. You need a why that is rooted in service, in legacy, and in the sheer undeniable necessity of expressing your own genius. When you are driven by a purpose that is larger than yourself, you tap into a reserve of energy that never runs dry. You find that you can work longer, think clearer, and persist through setbacks that would have leveled you previously. You become a conduit for progress. Never let the technicalities of how stifle the energy of what. Too many people spend years planning the perfect route, perfecting the business model, and dotting the I's, only to find that the world has moved on before they ever launched. The Billionaire Blueprint rewards the swift. It rewards the person who acts with incomplete information because they trust their ability to course correct in real time. Execution is the great differentiator. Everyone has ideas. Ideas are cheap, abundant, and everywhere. Execution is rare, expensive, and precious. If you have an idea that burns in your gut, do not wait for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There is only the action you take right now. The momentum of action will clarify your vision faster than 1,000 hours of planning. As you navigate this path, remember that gratitude is the ultimate signal of abundance. If you dwell on what you lack, you will manifest more lack. The universe responds to your frequency. If you are in a state of resentment, you are vibrating at the frequency of scarcity. But if you are in a state of profound gratitude, even for the lessons hidden in your struggles, you open yourself to receive more. Gratitude is the mindset of the winner, because the winner knows that even before the harvest is full, the soil is fertile. You are attracting the future you are grateful for today. Your journey is not a race against others, it is a race against your own potential. Do not look to your left or your right to see how far others have come. Their journey is irrelevant to the mission you were born to fulfill. Your only competition is the version of yourself you were yesterday. If you are better, sharper, more focused, and more committed than you were 24 hours ago, you are winning. Keep that rhythm. Build that discipline. Protect your vision with your life, for it is the most valuable asset you own. You have the blueprint. You have the internal fire. Now, go out and prove to the world, and most importantly to yourself, that you are capable of the greatness that has been waiting for you all along. The threshold is behind you. The empire is ahead. Claim it. There is a quiet, terrifying beauty in the moment you realize that your life has been a rehearsal for the greatness you are now claiming. The hesitation you feel is not fear. It is the friction of shedding an old skin. You are entering a domain where the rules are written by those who dare to define their own reality, rather than those who wait for permission from the world. This is not merely about accumulating wealth. It is about expanding your capacity to experience, to influence, and to endure. The Billionaire Blueprint is a framework for the mastery of the human soul. It demands that you treat your intellect, your emotions, and your physical vitality as the most significant capital you will ever manage. If you treat your internal world with the same rigor and strategic foresight that a CEO applies to a balance sheet, you will become an unstoppable force. Observe the way you handle the silence. Most people fear silence because it forces them to confront the truth of their own inactivity. But for the architect of a destiny, silence is a laboratory. It is where you refine your intentions, where you detach from the noise of the masses, and where you align your heartbeat with the rhythm of your ambition. When you are alone, are you consumed by your own doubts, or are you constructing the mental models of your future? The ability to sit with your own thoughts and steer them toward productive ends is the hallmark of the elite. You must learn to occupy your own mind so completely that no external circumstance can ever make you feel small again. You are the sovereign of your internal kingdom. Do not allow any invading force of insecurity to take root. Consider the compounding nature of your focus. If you scatter your attention across a dozen different projects, you will inevitably achieve only a shallow level of success in each. The Titan knows the power of the singular focused beam. When light is scattered, it illuminates. When it is concentrated, it cuts through steel. You must find your point of leverage, the one activity, the one project, the one pursuit that produces the greatest amount of value and progress. Cut away everything else. The no is more powerful than the yes when it comes to protecting your energy. Every time you decline an invitation to mediocrity, you are saying yes to your own expansion. Every time you turn away from a distraction, you are sharpening the edge of your contribution. Look at the history of human progress, and you will see that it was never driven by the comfortable. It was driven by the restless, the hungry, and the dissatisfied. If you are comfortable, you are in danger of stagnation. You must intentionally create an environment of growth. Seek out mentors who challenge your assumptions, read works that force you to think in new dimensions, and put yourself in rooms where you are the least knowledgeable person in the room. This is how you bypass the ego's desire to remain in the safety of the known. The billionaire mindset requires a constant, aggressive pursuit of wisdom. You must be a student of the game, learning from every success and every failure, treating your life as a living curriculum of mastery. The law of compensation is the final gatekeeper of your success. It states with mathematical precision that your rewards in life will always be in exact proportion to the service you render, the quality of that service, and the breadth of your influence. You cannot cheat this law. You cannot demand wealth if you are not creating value. You cannot demand respect if you are not radiating integrity. You must become a producer of solutions. The world is crying out for people who can solve the complexities of the modern age with clarity, ethics, and conviction. If you can position yourself as a beacon of reliability and innovation, wealth will not just come to you. It will be drawn to you by the gravity of your own usefulness. As you stand here, at the precipice of your true potential, remember that you do not need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. You only need the light to see the step in front of you. Trust the process of your own unfolding. Trust that the work you do in the dark will eventually be rewarded in the light. There is no such thing as a wasted effort if it was done with full commitment. There is no such thing as a lost dream if you continue to walk toward it. You are a creature of infinite capability, shackled only by the limitations of your own belief. Break those shackles today. Forgive yourself for the years you spent wandering. And start today with the fire of 1,000 suns. You are not looking for a shortcut. You are looking for the path of mastery, and that path is demanding, relentless, and glorious. It will ask for your best effort, your deepest focus, and your most unwavering commitment, but it will give back to you a version of yourself that is unrecognizable to those who knew you before. You are not building a life, you are crafting a legend. You are not earning a living, you are fulfilling a purpose. And in the final analysis, that is the only success that matters. Stand up. Take the mantle of your own power. Your blueprint is ready. The world is ready. And you, finally, are ready to transcend the ordinary and ascend to the heights of your own infinite potential. The journey begins with the next breath, the next decision, and the next moment of uncompromising action. Claim it now. The architecture of your future begins not with the accumulation of capital, but with the radical acceptance of responsibility for your own mind. You have been told that you are a product of your environment, a victim of your lineage, or a prisoner of your circumstances. This is the great lie of the mediocre. The truth, which the titans of history understood in the marrow of their bones, is that you are the sole progenitor of your reality. You are the architect, the builder, and the occupant of your own destiny. When you stop looking outward for the cause of your stagnation, you instantly seize the power to change it. There is a profound, chilling freedom in realizing that if your life is where it is because of your past choices, then it is also within your power to change it with your future choices. You are not stuck. You are simply resting in a decision you have not yet dared to reverse. Look at the giants of the past again, not as icons on a pedestal, but as blueprints for your own psyche. When Andrew Carnegie decided that he would become the greatest steel magnate in the world, he did not start by focusing on the furnaces or the steel. He started by focusing on the synthesis of a philosophy of success. He understood that a man who knows how to think is far more powerful than a man who simply knows what to do. He cultivated a mastermind, a collective consciousness of brilliant minds, and allowed that synergy to amplify his own. You must do the same. If you are the smartest person in your inner circle, you are in the wrong room. You must curate your associations with the same intensity that you curate your thoughts. Surround yourself with those who think in decades, not in days. Those who think in terms of legacies, not in terms of paychecks. But even with the right circle, you will face the test of the midpoint. This is the moment where the initial thrill of the vision begins to fade, and the reality of the work sets in. This is the valley of the shadow where most dreams go to die. The excitement is gone, the results are not yet visible, and the temptation to quit is a seductive whisper in your ear. Do not be fooled. This is the exact moment where the transformation happens. Persistence is not just the act of continuing. It is the act of continuing without the reward of immediate feedback. It is the iron-willed commitment to the process when the outcome feels like a phantom. You must learn to love the work more than the result. When you fall in love with the process, the discipline of the morning, the focus of the afternoon, the reflection of the evening, the results become an inevitable byproduct rather than a desperate chase. Consider the physics of your energy. You possess a limited amount of emotional and mental capital each day. If you spend it on the opinions of strangers, on the news of the day, or on the trivialities of small-minded gossip, you are bankrupting your empire before it even begins. You must become a miser with your attention. Guard it. Direct it. Focus it on the things that actually build your future. If a task does not serve the grander vision, if a conversation does not sharpen your intellect, or if a habit does not strengthen your character, it is a drain. Close the accounts. Reinvest that energy into your own self-mastery. Every moment you reclaim from the trivial is a moment you invest in the infinite. The billionaire blueprint is built on the foundation of an indomitable ego, not an ego of arrogance, but an ego of self-respect. It is the refusal to accept the version of yourself that is small, fearful, or apologetic. It is the internal declaration that you are worthy of your own highest ambitions. You must treat yourself as the most valuable asset in your portfolio. Invest in your health, for a tired body cannot sustain the weight of a great mission. Invest in your knowledge, for your mind is the engine of your wealth. Invest in your spirit, for that is the fuel that keeps you moving when the world says stop. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual force having a human experience. Act accordingly. Do not fear the scale of your ambition. If your goals do not frighten you, they are not your true goals. They are merely preferences. You must set targets that require you to grow into a different person just to reach them. The goal is not the objective, the goal is the evolution. If you want to change your output, you must change the internal machine. You must upgrade your beliefs, refine your habits, and sharpen your focus. You are the software and you are the hardware. Rewrite your code. Delete the viruses of self-doubt and entitlement, and install the protocols of discipline, gratitude, and unrelenting action. You stand at the threshold of a level of success that the vast majority of humanity will never even conceive of. Do not let this opportunity pass you by because you are waiting for the right time or the perfect plan. The blueprint is the action itself. The plan is the movement. The success is the result of the character you forge in the fire of your own ambition. Rise, claim your power, and build the future that is already waiting for your command. The silence is over. Your voice is the sound of your own destiny. Now act.